What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome back to the channel as we continue to do our deep dive into the 2024 NFL Draft Class. Today, we look at the edge rusher position, and I'm going to give you my top 10 in this video, and I'm hoping by the end of the summer to have a draft guide available for y'all. We'll have my full prospect rankings and my full evals, but go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content as always. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. Let's go ahead and get this sucker started with number 10, Princely. Whew. All right, let's try this last name. Umang Aling. I'm going to call him Princely for the remainder of this video, but he actually has a YouTube channel. Doesn't post a lot, but I thought that was kind of interesting. But he just became a starter last year. That's when we really saw what he could do. He had 11 starts last season and had 27 pressures, 6 sacks. He's 6'5", 245. He's got great length. He's got the tools. Can he put it together? Because then this cat's stock can really skyrocket because he doesn't have a lot of pass rush moves, but nasty spin move. He had a good pass rush win rate in terms of true pass sets, which basically takes out passes influenced by the run game. So we're talking screens, play actions, and such. He had a 31.8% win rate. However, he needs to get better in the run game. He really does. His upper body strength is really good, but overall play strength just isn't there yet. He doesn't do a good job of anchoring, and I would like to see he get more active with his hands. But there's a lot there to like. I think you're probably going to see his name a ton in terms of projection. So here he is at number 10. Let's go ahead to number 9 on the list, being a cat that I've talked about actually on the channel for feels like the last 2 years, in Zion Tuimoloau Fetui, out of Washington. I call him ZTF for short. And again, I've talked about this cat before. Ever since he emerged in the 2020 season, the shortened season, where he had like 20 pressures, 7 sacks. He was a third-team All-American, and it looked like he was going to be someone to watch for the 2021 season for the 2022 NFL draft class. However, during spring practices, he tore his ACL. Initially thought he would be out for the year, but he made it back for Week 7 against UCLA, but he was kind of on a pitch count throughout the remainder of the season. He missed the last 2 games with a concussion. So he returned for 2022. Only started 2 games, but he was heavily used in the rotation. He had 32 pressures, 5 sacks, and he's returning for a 5th season. He will be 24 by the time he starts his rookie season in the NFL, but there's so much to like about him. 6'4", 251. I will say he is the oldest guy in my top 10, but God, he's just overtly strong, dude. He throws definite blows, just jarring strikes. His upper body strength is just immense. He's got Herculean type strength. One of the best bull rushes you'll see in this class. Does a great job of keeping his own pads clean, and he demonstrates a good pass rush game plan, a good approach. He never works himself out of the play, does a good job of sticking his lanes, containing the quarterback. He did shed 20 pounds back in 2021, but you didn't see him lose any strength because of it. He was doing it trying to be a bit quicker, a bit faster, but I would still say not the most explosive athlete. He's not going to be someone who could really chase down ball carriers on the down-to-down, or at least consistently down-to-down. And I think a lot of people will understand that. He's not the most flexible guy either, not the bendiest. Typically bites on play actions or misdirections in the backfield, and that's not great if you already got limited pursuit ability. But man, there's a lot to love about him, man. There really is. Just how he plays the game. He won't be the last Washington defender we see on this list. We'll talk about one, actually, technically a couple later on. But let's go ahead with number 8, Cedric Johnson out of Ole Miss. And this is another Tracy type of guy, 6'3", 265. Former 3-star recruit from Mobile, Alabama. He has started 22 games the past 2 seasons. He made Bruce Feldman's Freaks list last year. And this dude owns the point of attack, man. He does a great job of setting up blockers for his secondary or third moves. And he has strong hands. He's he's just consistently getting into the pads of blockers. I love how he uses his hands. He shows a ton of counters as well, and he's got a really good like step fake where he kind of like slows while cornering, and then he just puts the pedal to the metal and just flies around the corner. I love this dude's bend. I love the flexibility. He does a good job of penetrating on stunts, even when there isn't a hole necessarily to be found. Dude's just strong as an ox. Like, he's built. You can kind of tell from the picture, man. The dude's got a lot of meat on the arm, man. He is just a jacked. And he was actually recorded last year. He's explosive. He was recorded at going 20 miles an hour, which is just nuts. However, there are some things maybe not to like about him. He's typically like there's times where it's like he's routinely laid off the snap, and he has to win with his physical and athletic tools. When facing mobile quarterbacks, he has troubles finishing. You can see he had a 22% missed tackle rate. I think through his career, he does struggle with double teams and lets up on plays if a flag is thrown. You saw this happen back in 2021 against Tennessee twice. But like, if we're going to project a dude, this is probably one of them I feel the most confident about. And I'm kind of curious if many other people will be talking about him. I went through about 40 players for these edge rankings. It's just some of them, they're going to end up on my defensive interior rankings, or they're just real tweener-ish, or maybe they're even off ball. So you'll notice that if you get the draft guide at the end of summer, I've made a couple of new tabs where I have like slot receivers, slot corners, and I now have this tweeners tab where you can look at some of the guys, and I'll have what roles that I think they best project to. So there's a little foreshadowing, a little look ahead to what you can expect when you view that. But we got number 7 here, Jack Sawyer, out of Ohio State, former 5-star recruit, 6'4", 265, 22 pressures, 3 sacks last year. That's because he was mainly just a rotation player. Saw a significant amount of snaps last year, made 3 starts, but still just really a rotation player. Something interesting, I would like point out that his grandfather actually played in the Pittsburgh Pirates farm system. So I was like, that's pretty darn cool. But he did kind of play a little out of position last year. He played kind of like a jack linebacker role. So the sample size on the line is a bit small. So this is a bit of a projection. I do have questions about his bend and his length, and we'll hopefully learn more about that this season. But this dude's got a stout build. He plays the run exceptionally well. Good acceleration. When he sees a lane to the ball carrier, he hits it and he finishes very well. Very good first step. Plays with good low leverage. Nice bull rush. Plays with good body control. You'll never see him off balance. And again, I like the acceleration. There's a lot to like about him. It's just simply we need a bigger sample size. I think it's important to note junior year in high school did tear his MCL, so might be something to look out for injury-wise, but it doesn't warrant an injury red flag. I just thought that maybe something I should bring up. I have a 3rd round grade on him, but number 6 on the list is Lito out of UCLA, and he will have a big injury red flag, and we can go ahead and talk about that. He's 6'4", 265, former 4-star recruit out of the 2019 class, and he initially went to Washington. This is why I mentioned, I was like, yeah, I have other Washington players here, kind of, sort of, and he is one of them. He played at Washington. He was mainly a reserve his freshman season, but in 2020, he unfortunately suffered a neck injury that ended his season prior to the season opener, and there was thoughts that he probably was done with football. But in 2021, he was cleared to return to football by Dr. Robert Watkins. If you're not familiar with him, he actually treated Peyton Peyton Manning, there we go, for his neck injury. But Washington doctors didn't feel good enough to clear him for the 2021 season. So instead, that season, he served as an assistant for the Huskies before he decided to transfer. And this is something out there that I just want y'all to know is total nonsense. Some people will say, "Oh, UCLA was the only medical staff that was willing to clear him." That's nonsense. That's poppycock. There were plenty of teams out here trying to get Lito Latu. The reason why he selected UCLA was because he was following his old position coach from Washington. So if you see any of that, just be like, okay, that's trash. That's garbage. Fake news. I don't do a good Trump impression. I'm not good at impressions, period. I think I can do a mean Mickey Mouse. Oh, here we go. No, I can't do a Mickey Mouse. I'm terrible at impressions, but that's not why you're here. You're here to hear about Lito Latu. So he initially picked UCLA. Didn't start a game in 2022, but he saw significant playing time in the rotation and made first team all Pac-12 return for the 2023 season when some people thought he may come out. And now let me tell you what's there like about him, because this is probably one of the best finesse rushers in this class. He is so light on his feet. He shows incredible burst you see this on stunts or when he's bending the edge. His closing speed is just remarkable. I love the relentlessness he comes in, rep to rep. He displays a very good approach to rushing the passer. Excuse me. And he will not allow himself to be stonewalled for too long on a play. He plays with very active and quick hands. And he may not have overwhelming strength, but he doesn't allow himself to be like driven back in the run game. The dude's a competitor. He grinds out every snap. He has a knack for finishing the quarterback. If you look at true pass rush win rate, 48.3% is just absolutely ludicrous. Now, obviously, small sample size, though last year, 65 pressures, 12 sacks, kind of ridiculous. But the biggest concern will be the neck, and that'll be kind of something we won't really know more of until the combine. And even then, like a lot of people keep it hush hush of injury red flags at the combine, like we saw with like Darnell Washington or like a Luke Whippler and such. Now, some people might view him mainly as just a DPR player. That could stem from maybe a lack of explosive power. Like I said, he's got functional strength, but there's really nothing explosive about him. There really isn't. He's more finesse than anything else, but he does occasionally slip off ball carries, 22% missed tackle rate last season. Does lack an anchor to hold up against power on inside runs, and I would like to see him use his length a bit better and just see him do a better job of gaining and maintaining leverage. But I'm a big fan of Latu. I got him as a third round grade. He'd be a lot higher if not the concerns with the neck injury. But my number 5 is currently at Washington. It's Braylon Trice. He is 6'4", 267. You see him playing with that club? Yeah, he played with that last year. Got a second round grade on him. He's actually from Phoenix, Arizona. Went to Sandra Day O'Connor High School. That's kind of wild. Sandra Day O'Connor. It sounds like something from Terminator. But yeah, does karate in his free time. Wow, that's a wild little nugget there. But he made first team all Pac-12 last season after starting 12 games. And this dude has packed on 40 pounds since arriving there at Washington, and he is pure freaking muscle. He is strong. He pairs that up with a very explosive first step. Good length. Had a 30.7 pass rush win rate. Not a true pass rush win rate, just a normal pass rush win rate, which that is pretty darn good. I think that was the highest in this potential class. So that's definitely something to look out for. He routinely, there we go, turns speed to power, drives blockers back with good lower body strength. The guy that always keeps the feet moving and churning. And I love that regardless of position. If you keep your feet moving on contact, I'm kind of going to fall in love with you. He's got a nice long frame. and he packs a lot of power in his hands, good hand usage. And he was doing that with the club on his right hand this past season. And I will say he controls the point of attack pretty darn good. He disengages at will in the run game, does a good job of setting the edge. Some of the things I didn't like about him was he's more powerful than bendy, and he's more of a straight line athlete. So he's got fine, like his bend is fine at the NFL level, but it's not elite. So I don't know if that might keep him out of the first round. He's a top 50 player for me, honestly, but I don't know if I'm going to have him as a fringe player just yet. Gojo coming in here, joining me. He has shown a variety of moves that makes me think that it'll eventually click. He just needs a bit more polish on those moves, and he was a missed tackle machine last season. And honestly, probably the biggest concern I have for him is he's not the most flexible guy, and I would like to see him do a better job of getting and maintaining leverage. Just consistently sinking the hips. He kind of struggles with trying to play at a lower pad level, but freaking Trice is nice. So that's like 3 Washington, or at least now Washington or former Washington edge rushers here on the list, man. So that's kind of wild, kind of bonkers. But let's talk about my first round graded edge rushers, and we're going to start with Dallas Turner, which might be a bit of a surprise for some people, because I think some people have him as like edge 1 or 2 in this class, and he is 4 for me. He's 6'4", 242, 37 pressures last year, 5 sacks, former 5-star, played there next to Will Anderson. I think Will Anderson was kind of easily the better prospect, at least right now. But the dude has elite explosiveness. Like, he's explosive. He can bend the corner, man. Like, the dude is just quick out of his stance. He has a natural feel for setting up blockers before engaging in contact to get him knocked off balance. Like, he's got this nasty little Euro step move that just puts blockers on ice skates. And he plays low, does a good job of turn speed to power. He'll hit blockers with violent hands and keep the body and the feet churning through contact. I love that leg drive. He closes space quick. The pursuit speed, very, very nice. Solid tackler as well. 8.6 career missed tackle rate, and he did a little bit of spot dropping in coverage for Alabama this past season. He's a guy that can get out to the flats real quick or drop to the sideline if you need him to. However, he is lean. He's still young though, a guy that's still developing his body, but as of now, he still looks pretty lean to me. There's times he struggles to disengage, even from tight ends. Like, this dude's pass rush win rate last year wasn't that impressive, 14.8%. So there's some projection going on when it comes to Dallas Turner. There's sometimes he'll shoot into the backfield and have no idea like where the ball is, and I would say he'd be out of play if his pursuit speed wasn't so nuts. But there's some things I'd like to see him get better, and I'm not willing to say he is a top 10 prospect right now. And I'm kind of like, I think he'll have no problem getting to like to 250. I mean, we see guys playing at 245 now on the edge. It just kind of limits, like schematically like what teams will probably go after him. But number 3 might be a even bigger surprise for y'all. It's Jared Verse. And y'all know I loved Jared Verse last year. I went into the season saying, had him in my top 10 edge rushers video, solely kind of based on like one Albany game against Syracuse and what I saw at spring practices. And I was like, I think this guy can emerge in a big way. He's got tools. The dude is stupid explosive. And then he did. I'm telling y'all, he would have been my edge 2 last year if he declared, but he decided to return. And here he is. If you didn't know, I said it earlier, he was from Albany. He was an unranked recruit. He redshirted his first season at Albany, but did manage to play in 4 games before redshirting. Had 17 pressures, 4 sacks in 2021. He was all CAA first team, decided to transfer, then got there to Florida State. He had a very strong start to the season against LSU. But then in week 3 against Louisville, he suffered an ankle injury. He would miss the next game, and then he would come off the bench the following 2 as they kind of eased him back into the starting lineup. Ended up still making first team all ACC and might have one of the best bull. Like, first off, this dude's body, he's jacked. He's jacked to the gill. There might not be an ounce of fat on him. He has one of the best bull rushes in this class. He turns speed to power so quickly and relatively easy. Combines that with good length, great get off. He has one of the best first steps I think you would see in this class. It's just so quick. He can shoot gaps. He can shoot the gap on a slant plays. He's capable of running down the backside when left unblocked. 23.7 pass rush win rate this past season. As you can see, 9 sacks, 36 pressures. However, he does at times react a bit late when trying to determine if it's a run or a pass play. You can kind of still see the wheels turning, and I think the game will slow down for him in year 2 of being in the Power 5. I would like to see more pass rush moves from him, because there are times he just seems more like a linear player and he could get a bit out of control. Like, it's not a balance issue. It's just like he gets to the backfield so quickly. He doesn't know what's going on back there. He's like, oh, crap. Didn't expect to be here. So what do we got? Does need to work on the tackling technique. He just tackles from poor angles, leaves his feet prematurely. 27% missed tackle rate last season, so I'd like to see him clean that up. But the dude's got tools. Got him again as a top 10 prospect. You might be like, man, who are your top 2 then? And it's kind of a tie. But we're first going to go over Chop Robinson out of Penn State. I thought long and hard. I really wanted him to be my number 1. But ultimately, I think I'm just going to have him here because I think the guy in front of him might just be a little bit more toolsy. But Chop was a 4-star recruit from the 2021 class. He initially went to Maryland and played a rotation role there during his freshman season. Only had 1 start, decided to transfer at the end of the season. He played every game as a rotation player, but saw significant snaps last year. 48 pressures, 5 sacks. That's right. Dude didn't start a game. 48 pressures, 5 sacks. I'm expecting him to have a banger of a season. Like, this dude has probably the best first step in the class. He's explosive. He's got an elite first step. He explodes off the line, combines that with really good bend. He establishes leverage and it accelerates around the corner very easy. He plays low, consistently plays with great leverage, turns speed to power like it's no problem. Fun fact, he keeps those legs churning on contact. If you didn't know, I love that. Plays with a huge motor. He's relentless. There's no quit in him. He possesses a filthy spin move. He hits it so quick, blockers don't have time to respond to what's going on. And combine that with his closing speed, it's just darn near deadly. He has put weight on. He's at 253. So I'd like to see that play strength start to catch up, because in 2022, he wasn't really on the field for a ton of run plays. And I think there's a few reasons for that, because he kind of plays high when he knows it's a run play. Plays high. He plays high with high pads, trying to see into the backfield, and it just causes him to be inconsistent at the point of attack. And I didn't really see too much stacking and shedding ability from him, so that's something I kind of want to see more, as I assume he'll be the starter this season. His hand placement and usage needs some polish, definitely. Just needs to do an overall better job of keeping the strike zone clean. And I'm really curious what his arm length is. Like, I don't think he has sub 33-inch arms, but I don't imagine they're much bigger than that. So I'm kind of curious how he'll measure out at the combine. The dude definitely has a really good story as well. He's got 7 siblings, but his older brother and sister passed away, and he kind of like used that, or at least led him to have a major in criminology. So it's like, He's got a very inspiring story too. I'm a sucker for guys with really good stories as well. I was like that with Paris Johnson last year. Paris Johnson seemed like just a fantastic human being. Him and Joey Porter Jr. too. But here we go. Talking about Penn State guy Joey Porter as I talk about Chop Robinson. So I did bring up Paris Johnson, so we might as well get to the Ohio State guy on the list, as it is JT Tuimoloau out of Ohio State. 6'4", 270. I just think this guy's tools are insane. I want to see a year of consistency from him, because we saw what happens. Like, he can take over a game. That Penn State game was freaking historic. He made 10 starts last season, and I want to see that more. I want to see it more consistently. But in that Penn State game, he had 2 interceptions, 2 sacks, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. He was the first player to do that in the 21st century in the FBS. Absolutely ridiculous. And he's just built different. He's long, he's big. Sounds kind of dirty, but it's true. He's explosive. He combines burst and length to overwhelm tackles at the point of attack. He's got a terrifying bull rush. He can crash quarterbacks into their own blindside blockers. It's just nuts, man. He plays with great balance. He shows nimble feet. I like the flexibility. And once he dips and he accelerates, it's like you're done. He's getting to the quarterback. Easy breezy, no problem. Plays with low pads. And he attacks with very violent hands, man. He scratches, claws, clubs, and swats. He's a high-effort player with a lot of upper body strength. He anchors well. He does a good job of setting the edge in the run game. However, does need to do a better job of being a finisher. Not a guy necessarily you can trust to make a tackle in open space. 26% missed tackle rate last season. Now, I will say the high-end reps for JT are unbelievable. However, I want to see a bit more consistency to him. I want to see him develop some counters, and I still think he's putting it together as a run defender. Like, he doesn't really attack the run with the same violence as he attacks the pass, and sometimes he'll struggle to disengage and stack and shed. However, might have the most tools in this class. That's why he kind of had to be number 1. But I really like Chop Robinson a lot. I really do. But this is definitely turning into what could be a very interesting class at the edge position. And I can't wait to talk about some of these other guys after we get done with some of the position ranking videos. And I will put out like a top 200 big board before the season starts. So you're gonna see a lot of these guys, man. We're gonna be talking a lot of prospects for the next year. It's gonna be a ton of fun. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. Haven't decided what position group is next yet, because I got family coming in town this week. But yeah, we'll see. I'm thinking I think I'm gonna go tight end. We'll see. But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.